while. I guess I'm on. The reason I'm speaking to you today is because I, like many of you, am concerned about our nation and our planet. For me, I'm blessed to represent two nations, America and Canada. Or I should say I'm blessed to be a part of, or it's not important. The important thing is this. If we don't learn to work together, if we don't learn to ignore prejudice and minor differences between people, we're in trouble. What would you do if you found out that your politicians have been lying to you? What would you do if you found out because of a politician or a corporation or many politicians and many corporations that your child is dead or that your father or your mother is dead? That's happening all around America and Canada. More so in America than in Canada. America is no longer the land of the free and the brave. No, it is no longer the land of the free and the brave. You've got to earn that back. You don't have that moniker anymore. That's another lie. You've let your freedom go to the bushes. You let your freedom go to fear. You let your freedom go for the dollar. And I am guilty as you. I am as guilty as you are. I was like you, caught up in my day-to-day life, thinking everybody had everything under control. The politicians were running things, managing well. That's what I thought. I thought they could be trusted. And many of these men and women go into office, and I think they have good intentions, just like you or I. But because of the powerful money involved in both illegal drugs and the law, powerful money, these people are taken advantage of, misled, and sometimes just led. Why? Because we give them too much credit. We are the most trusting people, probably in the world. We trust our government. And because of that, our communities are being destroyed a little bit at a time, and the pace is increasing. Our children are not getting smarter. Our children are becoming less intelligent because it's to the advantage of those who would take advantage of them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are serial killers on this planet, and we all know that. We've heard about serial killers. Most of us would never be a serial killer. Most of us would not consider or even think about harming another on a serial basis. It takes something very unique to kill another human being and not be destroyed by that. But we have many men and women who are doing just that. Now, why is that happening? Because we have lost control, we have lost sight of what values are, what right and wrong is. Because the government which we have elected to help us run this nation, is not helping us run this nation. It's more like they're managing their own personal portfolios. And those who would try to help us are besieged by individuals who have more financially, more power than they. And the public is so far behind intellectually in terms of understanding, in terms of dealing with this, that they have been running rampant. I know 40 years ago, they were talking about making marijuana legal. And that was another lie. And it was established so that someone could win office. And in this case, it was Nixon. And we know what a liar Nixon was. And I understand that he had a report made about marijuana. And because it was proven to be a very good substance, not only medicinally, but a very good substance in terms of socially or for manufacturing in so many areas, it is actually a superfood. But their fear, and it's not politicians, it's those people who are promoting the politicians, who are controlling the politicians. Their fear is that the public will start using it and it will cost them money. Why do you think there was such a big hubbub about healthcare in the United States? It was about the money that would be lost. In Canada, we have healthcare, but because of an agreement we have with the United States and other nations, we may not be able, as far as legally or easily, to reverse drug laws or to change drug laws. I can't say, as far as the existing government is concerned. But in terms of our power over the government, we can change all that, but only with a united front. Now, if about 40 million of us get together one day and we make them change the laws, simplify laws, because anyone who is aware will know that politicians who are lawyers can put little clauses in. If, shall, may can mean many big things in a contract. And when it comes to law, it's far easier for a lawyer or a politician to lie in front of your face by using little words that make a big difference. If, shall, may. Little words that make a big difference. And refer to. These are little things that they put into contracts to infuse that legalese that confuses the general public and makes it harder for them to understand or know the truth. But we can eliminate that by writing out a simple phrase that we live by. And that phrase could be responsibility. Responsible behavior. What do you think about having, instead of one MLA, 24 people from your community to go and represent that community? 24 people from that community, makes it so much more difficult for some individual or group of people to have an adverse influence on the group. Now, add to that, we give them 24-hour protection, and we protect those who are protecting them. Why? Because my experience is that intimidation is real. There are real groups like gangs, motorcycle gangs, and we know two major motorcycle gangs, Hell's Angels and the Rock Machine. You have groups like that who will have an influence on what is right and wrong in terms of judges. Now, many of you don't know how many judges have been killed by these motorcycle gangs. Many of you don't know how many politicians have been intimidated. But for the most part, from my understanding, they're using the candy approach versus, or sugar approach versus the rough approach on politicians. But they will use anything they have to get what they want. Illegal drugs have blessed both politicians, they have blessed the judges and the lawyers because they give them jobs. Lawyers have been cleaning up. And we don't want lawyers to go broke, but we don't want to be slaves to lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a real reality. The United States isn't very open because 9/11 gave them an excuse to take away your rights. So you don't know everything that's going on in the United States. But when you have people visiting the United States or people who live in particular areas where things are going on, and then you hear about it, but you don't hear about it on the news, then you know that there's some very suspicious things going on. There's some unsavory behavior. When I was a child, there were a lot of reporters that were murdered. Now you seldom hear of a reporter that is murdered. The difference is that reporters don't report those things anymore that they get killed for. That is, policing the government and organized crime. So those groups, they'll either buy a person off, or they'll kill them, or threaten their family. You wouldn't think the United States or the Canadian government would do that, but from what I hear, that's the case with them as well. Why is that the case? Because we, as a group, do not police these individuals or groups. We don't police politicians well enough. We allow them to make their own salaries. How absurd is that? How many jobs do you know of, or corporations that you know of, where the people who work for the corporation decide how much they're going to receive? Well, that is the case with the board of directors, and that is the case with politicians in both Canada and the United States. And I'm only talking about Canada and the United States because these are the two countries that I have lived in, and these are the two countries that I am a part of. We have failed, ladies and gentlemen. We've failed to unite. The United States isn't united, and Canada isn't united. We are divided both by our government and by individuals who are very wealthy, who are very afraid, who want to control you. We cannot allow this any longer. Our planet is going to be destroyed by this greed and ignorance. And many of our children will end up poor, in slavery. I understand in the United States there have been a lot of prisons built. Mr. Bush assured us that he would build enough prisons to house all the prisoners that needed to be housed. But you know why? Now they're